The remaining grapefruits hesitated for a moment in precarious limbo, and then hurled themselves onto the floor like so many lemmings making the final fatal migration. Jake stopped a grapefruit with the side of his foot and flipped it into the air like a soccer ball. He scooped up several more and carefully lined them up in their bin. From the corner of his eye, he caught the infuriated blonde heading for the fresh eggs. "Oh, no," he said, groaning. "Not the eggs." In silent horror, he watched as she chose a carton and in some magical way managed to grasp only the top lid, spilling the entire dozen eggs into the immaculate glass case. The eggs instantly exploded on their companions, oozing across gleaming shelves, sliming into pristine crevices. The blonde stared at the eggs as if they were aliens. She shook her head and muttered something indiscernible, while Jake doubled over his own cart in an attempt to abort the laughter that was rising in his throat. In his entire life, he'd never come across a female who was that outraged, that clumsy, and that sexy. She wasn't sexy by centerfold standards, but there was definitely something about her that increased his heart rate. He liked the way her short blonde curls bounced when she walked. He liked her peaches and cream coloring, and her wide, cornflower blue eyes, and the way she carried her slight frame. And most of all, Jake was intrigued by the intensity of her fury, the way she could muster her pride and walk away from disaster. She was not a woman whose life would be ruined by a broken fingernail. A stock boy appeared with a mop and sponge. "Don't worry about it," he told Amy. "Happens all the time." Amy nodded numbly. Lord, what a mess! Those eggs were like her life, scrambled. She decided she didn't want eggs anyway. Eggs reminded her of chickens, and you know what chickens do? They steal people's jobs. She proceeded down the aisles at a much more cautious pace, selecting fixings for a spaghetti dinner. She intended to go home, brew up some of her fantastic spaghetti sauce, and eat until she burst. Then she would sit in front of the TV and make the most of feeling sorry for herself. She hefted a bag of cat litter into her cart and continued on. Jake saw the tear in the bottom of the litter bag. He could have told her. He could have introduced himself and explained that she was leaving a trail of cat litter that wound its way through the bulk food section and staunchly marched through sanitary products. But he didn't. It was much more fun to observe her at a distance and follow the granules. Besides, he knew when he would make his move. Calamity Jane didn't have a purse, and there were no pockets that he could see in her bedraggled skirt. His guess was that she'd gone off in such a huff that she'd left her money behind. He pursued her at a leisurely pace, selecting a bottle of Burgundy to accompany her spaghetti dinner and adding a frozen pie for dessert. He lined up behind his quarry at the checkout, feeling an unsettling surge of affection for her, while his anxiety ran amok. What if his plan didn't work? What if she was married? She didn't have a ring on her finger, but that was no guarantee. Maybe she lost her ring this morning when she was bathing the baby. He peered over her shoulder and warily watched the fresh mushrooms and sweet peppers glide along the belt. She'd probably burned down 3 kitchens and poisoned countless men. Could that be why she wasn't wearing a ring? Most likely she'd killed her husband, accidentally run over him with her flashy red car. Maybe he should reconsider.